The planet Varelia glowed under a pale green sun. Its cities sparkled like crystals, built carefully by human settlers who had traveled far from Earth to create a new home. The people of Varelia were proud, but they lived under constant danger. Beyond the peaceful skies, the Zytrons, a merciless alien race, had attacked colonies before. They wanted the humans' technology and their control of the stars. In the heart of Varelia stood the royal palace, a towering structure of shining metal and crystal glass. Inside, Princess Myra walked quietly through the grand halls, her golden hair catching the light from the tall windows. She moved carefully, aware that danger could come at any moment. Though she was young, she had learned the weight of responsibility. Every day she trained with advisors, learned about the colony's defenses, and studied maps of neighboring systems. The people looked to her for hope, and she could not fail them. Outside the palace, Aaron ran through the streets. He was a soldier, but also an engineer, and he carried tools as easily as weapons. His dark eyes were focused and alert. Varelia had warned of Zytron activity near the royal district, and Aaron had been patrolling for hours. He had always felt a strong sense of duty, a need to protect his people. The thought of Princess Myra in danger pushed him forward faster than any fear. Suddenly, alarms blared across the city. Red lights flashed across the palace walls. Citizens ran in panic, and soldiers scrambled to their stations. Aaron's heart pounded. He knew the sound of the alarms all too well. The Zytrons had attacked before, and he had seen what they could do. Aaron sprinted toward the palace gates, his mind calculating every step. He could see ships descending from the sky, dark and angular, with glowing red engines. The Zytrons had come for Princess Myra. Their strategy was clear. They wanted her alive. Perhaps his leverage to take control of the planet inside the palace. The princess heard the alarms and ran to her security room. She saw images on the screens, Zytron soldiers landing and moving quickly through the outer courtyards. Her pulse raced, but she did not panic. She had trained for this, and she trusted the humans who protected her. Still, she felt a sudden fear when she saw one of the ships heading straight for the main gates. Aaron reached the palace. Just as the first Citron soldiers climbed over the walls, without hesitation, he leaped into action. He fired his plasma rifle, carefully aiming to disable rather than kill. Humans did not take life lightly, even in war, and Aaron believed every life mattered. His shots were precise, hitting Zytron's energy shields and causing them to falter. The princess watched in awe and fear as Aaron moved. He seemed fearless, darting from cover to cover, analyzing the attackers and finding weaknesses. He shouted instructions to the palace guards, coordinating their defense with quick, sharp commands. His presence gave everyone courage. Suddenly, a Zytron soldier broke through the gate near the princess's location. Aaron saw it immediately. Without thinking, he ran forward. He grabbed the soldier with all his strength and pushed it away from the princess. The soldier lashed out with its energy blade, striking Aaron across the shoulder. Pain exploded through him, but he did not falter. He managed to throw the Zytron back and shield the princess from another attack. Princess Myra gasped. "Aaron, be careful," she cried. But her voice was drowned out by the sounds of battle. Aaron could see the main threat now, a Zytron warship hovering above the palace courtyard, its weapons charging to fire. If it released its energy blast, the palace could be destroyed, and countless lives would be lost. He knew there was only one way to stop it. He turned to the princess. "Myra, go to the safe room." "I'll handle this," he shouted. She shook her head, tears in her eyes. "No, I want to help." "You cannot. Trust me," Aaron yelled. His voice was strong, but inside he felt the weight of what he was about to do. He ran to a control panel and activated the palace defense override. Energy shields sprang up, blocking part of the courtyard. Then he aimed a small experimental energy device at the warship. It was unstable, and using it could destroy him along with the Zytrons. Aaron's mind raced. Every human he had known, every friend, every citizen of Varelia, flashed before his eyes. He could not fail them. He could not fail the princess. He pressed the trigger. A massive pulse of energy shot from the device. The Zytron warship shuddered and began to break apart. Pieces of metal and energy shattered around the courtyard. Eren was thrown backward, hitting the ground hard. Pain tore through his body, but his mind focused on the princess. "Run, Mira, now." He managed to shout before losing consciousness. The princess hesitated, then sprinted to the safe room, her heart pounding. Soldiers rushed to protect her as the remaining Zictrons fled, confused and damaged by the unexpected energy blast. The courtyard was in ruins, smoke rising into the green sky. But the immediate threat was gone. Eren lay on the ground, barely breathing. The palace medics arrived, surrounding him. They worked quickly, applying healing nanobots and stabilizing his body. It was touch and go. Princess Mira could only watch, her hands trembling. She felt a mix of fear, gratitude, and admiration. Eren had risked everything, even his life, to save her. Hours passed. Slowly, Eren's eyes fluttered open. He was pale and weak, but alive. Relief washed over the princess. "You made it," she whispered, holding his hand. "You're alive." Eren managed a small smile. "I had to." "For you, for Varelia," he said, his voice hoarse. The queen arrived soon after. Her face a mixture of worry and curiosity. She examined Eren carefully. "You risked your life for the princess," Queen Leora said. "Your actions saved her and the palace. You are a true hero of Varelia." Eren looked at her, still exhausted. "I did what anyone would do. To protect their people," he said softly. The queen nodded, but there was a shadow behind her eyes. She realized that Eren's courage was matched by his knowledge. He had seen the palace defenses, the weaknesses, and he had fought bravely against the Zitrons. She knew that someone like him could never be allowed to leave freely. He was too valuable. Princess Mira noticed the queen's gaze and frowned. "Mother, he is hurt. He needs rest and freedom," she said gently. Queen Leora's voice was firm. "Rest, yes. Freedom. We will decide that. For now, he will remain in the palace. It is for everyone's safety, including his own." Eren felt a mix of relief and unease. He was alive, but now he understood he was not free to leave. He had saved the princess and the palace, yet his life had been claimed in a new wane, not by death, but by duty, as the sun set over Varelia. Casting golden light across the ruined courtyard, Eren lay in the healing chamber. Princess Mira stayed beside him, grateful and silent. Outside, the city began repairs, citizens slowly emerging from fear, and soldiers patrolled the skies. The danger was not over, but humanity had won this battle. Eren's thoughts drifted. He had given his life in a way, risking everything. But he had survived. And now he would have to navigate the new challenges of duty, loyalty, and a queen's command. Even as he rested, he made a silent promise. No matter what, he would protect the princess and the people of Varelia. Humanity had survived against impossible odds before, and it would survive again. The night grew quiet over the palace. Stars shone in the sky, and Eren slept, readying himself for the challenges that tomorrow would bring. He had given his life once, and now he would face whatever came next, proving that human courage could stand against any threat in the galaxy. The palace was quiet now. The chaos of the Zytron attack replaced by the steady hum of repairs and the low chatter of palace staff. The sky above Varelia was a deep violet, streaked with the lights of distant ships returning to orbit. Inside the healing chamber, Eren lay on a soft bed, nanobots moving slowly through his body to repair the damage from the battle. His chest rose and fell steadily, but his mind was restless. Princess Mira sat beside him, her hands folded in her lap. She had spent hours watching him, feeling a mixture of relief and awe. The man who had risked everything to save her now rested quietly, yet even in stillness, he radiated strength. She could see the strain in his face, the faint shadows beneath his eyes, and the marks of his injuries. She wanted to speak, to thank him, but no words felt sufficient. Finally, Eren stirred. His eyes blinked open slowly, adjusting to the soft light of the chamber. He tried to sit up, wincing as pain shot through his shoulder and side. "Easy, Mira said softly, placing a hand on his arm. You need to rest. I'm fine, Aaron said, though his voice was weak. The Zytrons are gone. The princess is safe. That is what matters. Mira shook her head. You matter too, Aaron. You saved everyone. You must let the healing finish. Aaron gave a small nod, though he could feel the tension in his muscles. Even lying down, his mind raced. He had survived a near impossible attack, but he knew the threat was not gone. The Zytrons would return, smarter and more determined. He needed to be ready to protect the princess and the colony. The chamber doors opened, and Queen Leora entered. Her presence filled the room. She walked carefully, observing Aaron with a mixture of respect and calculation. You have done well, she said quietly. You saved the princess and the palace. Veralia owes you a great debt. Aaron managed a faint smile. I did what I had to do. The queen's gaze shifted to Princess Mira. She is grateful, as are we all. But there is another matter to consider. Aaron frowned slightly, sensing the weight behind her words. What matter? The palace cannot afford to lose someone with your skills, Queen Leora said. Your knowledge of our defenses, your bravery, and your ability to face the Zytrans, these make you too valuable to leave. You will remain here, in the palace, to assist with security and planning. Aaron felt a tightening in his chest. He had survived a death-defying battle, but now he was bound by duty in another way. You mean? I cannot leave? He asked cautiously. For now, yes, the queen replied. It is not a punishment, but a necessity. You have proven yourself, and your presence here ensures the safety of the princess and our people. Myra's eyes softened as she reached for Aaron's hand. He saved me, Mother, she said gently. He deserves rest and freedom. Queen Leora looked at her daughter, then back at Aaron, and he will have both in time. But for now, his duty is clear. Verelia's safety comes first. Ren nodded slowly, understanding the logic even if it felt restrictive. I will do what is necessary, he said quietly. For Verelia, for the princess. Days passed, and Aaron's body slowly healed. The nanobots repaired torn muscles and mended broken bones. Every day he felt stronger, yet his mind remained alert. He studied the palace defenses, noticing where Zitterons had struck and how the humans had responded. He asked questions, suggested improvements, and worked alongside the engineers. Even in recovery, he was a vital part of the palace's safety. Mira visited him often, bringing reports, sharing concerns about the people, and discussing strategies. Their conversations were easy, filled with mutual respect and understanding. Mira admired Aaron's courage, and Aaron respected her intelligence and leadership. Together, they began planning small exercises to test the palace's defenses, finding weaknesses and solutions. Despite his injuries, Aaron's presence lifted the spirits of the palace staff. Soldiers who had watched him fight felt inspired, seeing that even when wounded he remained dedicated and resourceful. Human ingenuity was evident in every action he took, and it reminded everyone why Verelia had survived so many threats. One evening, while reviewing defense reports with Mira, Aaron noticed unusual patterns in the Zytrons' attack. They were testing us, he said quietly. The first wave was a distraction. The main attack will be different. They will strike where they think we are weakest. Mira frowned. How can we stop them if we do not know where they will come? Aaron smiled faintly. We use what makes us human. We think, adapt, and anticipate. The Zytrons rely on force and repetition. We rely on creativity and courage. That is our advantage. Mira nodded, understanding the weight of his words. Then we must prepare, she said. As the days passed, Aaron continued to recover, though he also began training with the palace guards. He taught them techniques to detect infiltration, showing them how to read patterns and anticipate enemy moves. His presence transformed the palace into a center of strategy and learning. The humans around him began to feel stronger, more confident, and more capable of defending their home. Despite this progress, Aaron could feel the invisible chains of the Queen's command. Every suggestion he made, every step he took, was watched carefully. Queen Leora visited him often, asking questions about Zetron tactics, palace vulnerabilities, and possible strategies. She valued his mind as much as his bravery. She was determined that he remain under her guidance. One afternoon, Aaron and Mira walked along the palace gardens. The sun cast a warm glow over the trees, and the air was filled with the scent of flowers. It was peaceful, a sharp contrast to the chaos of battle. "You do not seem happy, Aaron," Mira said softly, watching him carefully. "I am alive. The princess is safe, and Varelia is secure," Aaron said. "What more could matter?" Mira shook her head. "It is not about what matters to others. It is about what matters to you. You risked your life once. Now you are bound by duty. Do you not want freedom?" Aaron looked at her, considering her words. "I do, but freedom means little if the people I care about are in danger. I cannot ignore that. I made a promise to protect you, to protect Varelia, and I intend to keep it." Mira smiled, a mixture of admiration and sadness. "You are remarkable, Aaron. The people of Varelia are lucky to have you." He shrugged lightly. "I do what I can. I am only human. But humans can be clever, strong, and brave. That is what keeps us alive." That evening, the queen summoned Aaron to her private study. The room was filled with soft light and lined with maps and reports. Queen Leora regarded him with her sharp, thoughtful eyes. "You have healed well," she said, "and you have done more than I expected. The palace is stronger, the soldiers more capable, and the princess better prepared. Your work is invaluable." Aaron bowed his head slightly. "I only did what was necessary." The queen moved closer, her voice quiet but firm. "Necessary, yes. But I must be clear. You will remain here. Your skills, your courage, and your knowledge are too important to risk losing. I cannot allow you to leave. Not now, not ever, while the threat of the Zytrons exists." Aaron felt a pang in his chest. He had risked everything, and now he was tied to another kind of obligation. "I understand, Your Majesty," he said. "If it is for Varelia, I will stay." Queen Leora studied him for a long moment. "Good, you are a human of rare strength, Aaron. Do not forget that. You survived when others could not. That is proof of what humans can achieve. Remember this and let it guide you." As Aaron left the queen's study, he felt a mixture of pride and unease. He had survived impossible odds and saved the princess. Yet now he faced a new challenge: to serve not only as a protector, but as a symbol of human courage and ingenuity. Bound by duty to the palace, he returned to his quarters, where Mira waited. She offered a small smile. "You are needed here," she said gently. "And I am glad you are here," Aaron nodded. "Then I will be here. For you, for the palace, for Varelia, we will be ready for whatever comes next." Outside, the stars shone brightly over Varelia. The city hummed with life and recovery. And inside the palace, a hero rested, preparing for the battles yet to come, proving that human courage and ingenuity could stand against any threat, no matter how great. The palace of Varelia was alive with activity. Soldiers trained in the courtyards, engineers repaired walls and sensors, and the hum of machines echoed through the halls. Aaron had become a central figure in the palace, not only for his bravery, but for his intelligence. Every day, he guided soldiers, tested defenses, and improved strategies. Yet despite all this, he felt a growing tension. The queen's orders were clear. Aaron was not to leave. He was to stay, to advise, and to protect. For Aaron, this created an invisible cage. He had survived death once, yet now his life was bound to duty in a new, unspoken way. Freedom was a memory, and even as the palace buzzed with preparation and repair, he felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. Princess Mira noticed the change in him immediately. She met him in the garden one afternoon, the sun low in the sky, casting golden light over the palace walls. "You seem restless," she said softly. Watching him adjust the placement of training dummies for the guards. "I am," Aaron admitted. "I want to help, to protect, to prepare. But sometimes, it feels like my choices are no longer mine." Mira nodded, understanding his frustration. I know the queen is strict, but she fears losing you. She sees your strength and your mind. She wants to keep you close. Close, Aaron said bitterly. That is a polite word for control. I saved the princess, and now I am trapped by her gratitude. Mira sighed. You are not trapped. You are needed, and your guidance has saved lives. That is important, but I understand your feelings. Before they could speak further, a soldier ran toward them, breathless. Aaron, princess, there is something you need to see, Mira said urgently. Aaron followed the soldier to the outer walls, where a small team of scouts had discovered something unusual. The sensor readings indicated movement in the northern forests near the edge of the city. But it was not a normal Zytron patrol. The readings were irregular, sporadic, almost like shadows moving between the trees. Aaron frowned. Spies, he said quietly. The Zytrons are testing us again. They want to see how we react, where we are weak. Could they have come closer than before? They could, Aaron said. And if they have, they could be anywhere. We need to be careful. He returned to the palace, calling a meeting with the queen, the generals, and the lead engineers. Maps were spread across the table, lights flickering as Aaron pointed to the northern forests and other vulnerable points. The Zytrons will not attack openly yet, he explained. They are probing for weaknesses. Our best response is to anticipate their moves, strengthen our defenses, and use unpredictability against them. We must act before they strike, or they will find gaps we cannot recover from. Queen Leora studied him carefully. And what do you propose? Aaron's mind raced. We increase patrols at night, set up decoys, and monitor the perimeter with drones and sensors. But we also use human intuition. Machines can detect patterns, but humans can anticipate the unexpected. We combine both. The generals exchanged looks. One of them, a tall man with gray hair, spoke cautiously. It is untested. Using unpredictability could create gaps in our defenses. Aaron met his gaze firmly. Better gaps we control than gaps the Zytrons control. Humans survive because we adapt. That is our strength. The queen nodded slowly. Very well. Begin preparations. Aaron, you will lead the strategy team. This is your responsibility. Aaron felt the weight of her words. He would lead, guide, and protect, but he would do so within the walls of the palace. His freedom was limited, yet he knew the people of Veralia needed him. As days passed, tensions inside the palace grew. Soldiers trained harder, engineers worked longer, and Aaron spent hours reviewing intelligence and sensor reports. He noticed subtle signs that something was wrong. Food supplies had been tampered with in the storerooms, communication lines experienced brief interference, and patrols reported fleeting shadows moving near the walls. Aaron called Mira to his side. The Zytrons are closer than we think, he said. They have infiltrators, spies. We must find them before they cause harm. Ira frowned. How do we stop them without causing panic? Aaron thought carefully. We watch quietly, gather information, and set traps. Humans have patience and ingenuity. That is what the Zytrons underestimate. That night, Aaron and a small team of trusted guards patrolled the northern forests. The moonlight shimmered on the trees, casting long shadows. Every sound made their hearts race, the rustling of leaves, the snapping of branches, the distant call of wildlife. Suddenly, Aaron spotted movement. Shadows slipped between the trees, too calculated to be animals. He signaled the guards to hold position, moving silently toward the source. A small group of Zytron scouts emerged, cloaked in adaptive armor that reflected the forest lights. They had not expected humans to track them this closely. Aaron raised his hand, signaling the guards to wait. Using his knowledge of the terrain and human tactics, he devised a clever plan. He lit small fire beacons in specific patterns, confusing the Zytrons and forcing them into a narrow path between two hills. When the Zytrons realized the trap, it was too late. Aaron and the guards moved swiftly, surrounding them. The aliens attempted to fight, but Aaron had anticipated their movements. Within moments, the scouts were captured. Returning to the palace, Aaron reported the event to the queen. They were testing us, looking for weaknesses. We caught them before they caused damage, he said. Queen Leora studied the captured Zytrons. Excellent work. But this confirms my concerns. We cannot let you leave. You are too important. Aaron nodded silently. He understood the reasoning, yet he felt a quiet frustration. He had survived death once, yet now he was bound, not by injury, but by duty and politics. The princess joined him later that evening. You did it, she said, smiling. You caught the spies. The palace is safer because of you. Aaron shook his head. We caught them, yes, but there are more out there. The Zytrons are patient, and they learn quickly. We cannot be complacent. Mira looked at him with concern. You work too hard. Even a hero must rest. I will rest when I can, Aaron said. For now, preparation is more important. The safety of the palace of Varelia comes first. In the days that followed, Aaron's strategy transformed the palace defenses. Soldiers trained in new ways, patrols became more unpredictable, and the engineers installed improved sensors and alarms. Aaron's presence inspired everyone. Humans were not only brave, they were clever, adaptable, and relentless in the face of danger. Yet the tension inside the palace remained. The queen's watchful eyes and her insistence on keeping him close reminded Aaron that his life was not entirely his own. He had saved the princess, defended the palace, and now he was a living symbol of human courage and intelligence. One afternoon, as Aaron walked through the training grounds, he noticed a young soldier struggling with a weapon. Aaron stepped forward, guiding him patiently. Keep your movements smooth, anticipate the enemy, and stay calm. Fear is what the Zytrons want you to feel. We do not give them that power. The young soldier nodded, his confidence growing under Aaron's careful instruction. Aaron smiled faintly, seeing hope in the new generation of humans. Humanity's strength was not only in its warriors, but in its ability to teach, adapt, and inspire. That evening, Aaron returned to the palace gardens. Mira joined him, the sky painted in shades of orange and purple. They walked in silence for a moment, enjoying the calm after a day of preparation. Do you ever wish you were free? Mira asked quietly. Aaron considered the question. Sometimes. But freedom without purpose is empty. I choose to stay because I can protect, because I can make a difference. That is my freedom in a way. Mira nodded, understanding. You are truly remarkable, Aaron. The people of Varelia are lucky to have you. Aaron looked at the stars above, thinking of the Zytrons, the threats beyond Varelia, and the challenges yet to come. He had survived once, but survival was only the beginning. To protect, to guide, to inspire, that was the real test. And he would face it, as humans always had, with courage, ingenuity, and determination. The palace was quiet now, but Aaron knew the calm was only temporary. Shadows moved beyond the walls, spies lingered in hidden places, and the Zytrons would return. Yet humans were resilient. They adapted, they planned, and they faced danger with bravery. Aaron took a deep breath. He would stay. He would fight. He would protect Princess Mira and the people of Varelia. And he would prove, once again, that humanity's strength was more than courage. It was the power to overcome, to innovate, and to endure against impossible odds. The calm over Varelia lasted only a few days. The palace was alive with activity, soldiers patrolling and engineers repairing walls and sensors. But Aaron could feel tension in the air. The Zytrons were clever and patient. They did not attack without reason, and their probes and spies had already tested the palace. Now he sensed a greater threat was approaching. One morning, while reviewing sensor data, Aaron noticed unusual patterns. A fleet of ships had been detected near the outer system, larger than before. Their energy signatures were advanced, far stronger than the ships that had attacked the palace previously. He immediately called a meeting with Princess Mira, the queen, and the generals. They are coming, he said. A full Zytron force? This is not a test. They intend to strike in force, and their technology is more advanced than we have seen. Queen Leora's face remained calm, though her eyes betrayed concern. How soon will they arrive? She asked. Within 2 solar cycles, Aaron replied. If we do not prepare carefully, the palace and the city could be destroyed. Their attack will be coordinated and brutal.
Hell yes.
Mira's hands clenched. Then we must act. We cannot wait for them to reach the gates. Aaron nodded. We will not. We need to strengthen defenses, train our people, and prepare traps. But we also need to be unpredictable. The Zytrons rely on force and repetition. We will use their expectations against them. Over the next days, Aaron worked tirelessly. He organized drills, improved energy shields, and coordinated patrols. Soldiers learned new strategies, combining strength, speed, and clever tactics. Engineers adjusted weapon systems and designed new traps for the invading fleet. Aaron's knowledge of Zictron behavior allowed him to anticipate their moves, giving Varelia an advantage, but Aaron knew defense alone was not enough. The Zytrons were relentless, and waiting passively would cost lives. He devised a plan to send scouts beyond the palace walls to gather intelligence on the approaching fleet. He selected a small, trusted team of soldiers and approached Princess Mira. I want you to help, he said. Mira looked surprised. Me? I am not a soldier. You are a leader, Aaron said. Leaders must know the battlefield. I will guide you. Your presence is crucial. We need your insight to make decisions quickly. Mira nodded, determination in her eyes. Then I will go. The scout team, led by Aaron and accompanied by Mira, moved quietly through the northern forests. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the trees. Every sound, every movement, was examined carefully. They used advanced sensors to detect hidden threats, but Aaron relied on intuition. Noticing patterns and small disturbances the machines missed. Suddenly, one of the sensors picked up movement. Shadows flickered between the trees. The team stopped, and Aaron signaled them to hold position. He crept forward, analyzing the terrain. The Zytrons had left subtle traps, but Aaron anticipated them and led the team safely past. Finally, they reached a clearing and saw the approaching fleet in the distance. Massive ships hovered above the planet's surface, their red engines glowing ominously. Aaron studied them carefully. They are more powerful than we thought, but we can use the terrain. The mountains and valleys will allow us to hide and strike strategically. We can force them into traps. Mira watched him closely. You are calm, even in the face of such danger. Aaron shook his head. Not calm, focused. Fear slows humans, but preparation and action give us strength. That is how we survive. Returning to the palace, Aaron shared his findings. Queen Leora listened intently. Then we will follow your plan. Prepare the defenses and coordinate the soldiers. We will not be caught off guard. Aaron worked without rest. Every night he reviewed maps, trained soldiers, and tested new strategies. The palace became a hub of human ingenuity. Every trap, every defensive structure, every sensor reflected the strength of human intelligence. The people of Aurelia watched him and felt inspired. They understood that courage alone was not enough. Survival required skill, planning, and adaptability. Despite the urgency, Aaron also focused on morale. He spent time with the soldiers, teaching them to anticipate enemy moves, remain calm under pressure, and trust each other. He reminded them that humans survived because they could adapt. Courage was only part of it. Cleverness and unity were equally important. One evening, while Aaron reviewed plans in his quarters, Mira entered quietly. Do you ever feel fear? She asked. Arin looked up, considering. Of course. Fear is natural, but humans do not let it control them. We use fear as a guide, not a cage. It reminds us what matters, what must be protected. Mira smiled. You are remarkable, Aaron. Not only brave, but wise. Aaron shrugged lightly. I do what I must. That is all any of us can do. The following day, the first wave of the Zytron fleet approached the outer colonies. Aaron's preparations were already in motion. Drones patrolled the skies, energy shields were raised, and soldiers took positions across the city and palace grounds. The Zytrons fired, testing the defenses, but each attack was met with countermeasures, traps, and clever human tactics. Aaron led a squad to a critical point where the Zytrons attempted to breach the city, using a combination of terrain, energy nets, and human ingenuity. They forced the Zytrons into a narrow valley where the humans had set hidden weapons. Explosions rocked the ground as the first major assault failed. The Zytrons were strong, but human strategy was stronger. They regrouped, but every move they made was anticipated and countered. Aaron and his team moved with precision, turning the battle into a demonstration of human resilience and cleverness. Meanwhile, inside the palace, Queen Leora watched the unfolding events. Her decision to keep Aaron close was confirmed. His presence, knowledge, and leadership had turned what could have been disaster into a manageable threat. She realized that his survival and guidance had saved countless lives once again. Princess Mira, standing beside her mother, watched Aaron coordinate defenses and lead soldiers. She saw the determination in his eyes, the calm focus, and the courage that inspired everyone around him. "He is extraordinary," she whispered. "Yes," the queen replied, "and we are fortunate that he is with us. But remember, he is still human. Even heroes have limits." As the sun set over Varelia, the battle was far from over. The Zytron fleet was formidable, and the humans had only delayed their advance. But Aaron's leadership, the soldiers' training, and the palace's defenses had shown that humans were capable of standing against seemingly unstoppable threats. After the skirmish, Aaron returned to the palace, exhausted but alert. Mira met him at the door. "You did it," she said softly. "You saved countless lives today." Aaron shook his head. "We did it. Humans work best when we work together. The people of Varelia fought bravely, and they trusted the plans we made. That is why we succeeded." Mira looked at him with admiration. "You are a true leader, Aaron. The palace, the city, and the people are safer because of you." Aaron smiled faintly, though fatigue weighed heavily on him. "The fight is not over. The Zytrons will return, stronger and more determined. We must be ready." That night, Aaron walked alone in the palace gardens, reflecting on the day's events. He had survived death once, saved the princess, and now led the defense of the city. His life had changed forever. The queen's demands, the responsibilities, and the battles ahead had created a new path for him, one of duty, courage, and ingenuity. Yet even in the quiet, he felt a spark of hope. Humans had survived worse, faced greater dangers, and overcome impossible odds. The Zytrons may be relentless, but so were the people of Varelia. And as long as he could guide them, protect them, and inspire them, they would endure. The stars above shone brightly, reflecting on the palace walls and the glimmering city below. Aaron knew that the coming days would test him further. New strategies would be required, greater risks taken, and sacrifices made. But he would face them all with the same courage and intelligence that had saved the princess and the palace. For the first time, he allowed himself a small thought. Perhaps survival was not only about fighting, but about leading, inspiring, and showing what humans could achieve. And that thought gave him strength for the battles yet to come. The sky above Varelia was dark, streaked with the red glow of approaching Zytron ships. The fleet had arrived in full force, larger and more powerful than any before. The city hummed with activity as soldiers took positions, engineers adjusted defenses, and Aaron moved swiftly between command posts, coordinating every detail. The time for preparation was over. Princess Myra stood beside him, her hands clenched. "This is it," she said quietly. "We cannot fail," Aaron nodded. "We will not fail. Humans survive by thinking, adapting, and acting together. That is our strength. The Zytrons may be strong, but they are predictable in their own way. We can use that against them." Queen Leora watched from the palace balcony, her face a mask of calm determination. "Lead them wisely, Aaron," she said. "The fate of Varelia rests with you." Aaron turned to the soldiers gathered around him. "Today, we defend our home," he said. We fight not because we seek glory, but because our people, our families, and our future are at stake. Remember what makes us human: courage, creativity, and unity. Use these, and the Zytrons will learn what humans can achieve. The soldiers cheered, their spirits lifted by Aaron's words. Humans may not have had the raw power of the Zytrons, but they had something the aliens could never replicate: ingenuity, resilience, and the will to survive. As the first Zytron ships entered the atmosphere, Aaron directed energy shields to key points in the city. The shields glowed blue, humming as they absorbed and deflected incoming fire. The aliens fired, but their weapons met resistance at every turn. Traps set along roads and in the mountains forced the ships into narrow paths. Where their numbers counted for little, Aaron led a squad of elite soldiers to the northern valley, a strategic point the Zythrons had to pass through. Using the terrain, they ambushed the first wave of ships. Explosions lit the valley as traps were triggered, energy nets entangling the ships, and precision weapons disabled key systems. The Zytrons fought fiercely, but Aaron's strategy was flawless. He anticipated their movements, guided the soldiers, and adapted when the enemy tried to change tactics. Every action was calculated, every decision decisive. Meanwhile, Princess Myra coordinated the palace defenses, relaying information and directing energy shields. Her intelligence and calm under pressure allowed the city to respond as a single organism. Humans worked together, thinking faster and moving smarter than the Zytrons expected. Despite the success, Aaron knew the battle was far from over. A massive Zytron warship hovered above the palace, its engines glowing red and weapons charging. If it fired, the palace would be destroyed. He could not allow that. "I will take it down," Aaron said firmly, turning to Myra. "You will not do it alone," she said. "We will go together." Aaron nodded. "Then let us finish this." They moved quickly to a nearby command station, preparing a special energy device designed to disable the Zytron warship. The device was risky. Using it could cause serious damage to anyone nearby. Aaron's mind raced as he calculated the potential outcomes. Outside, the warship fired a massive energy beam, narrowly missing the palace as the shields absorbed most of the impact. Aaron and Mira activated the device, directing it at the warship's engines. Energy surged from the device, striking the ship. The Zytron warship shuddered violently, alarms blaring as systems failed one by one. The ship began to fall, crashing into the northern hills with a massive explosion. Shockwaves rocked the ground, but the palace and city remained intact. The soldiers and citizens cheered. Inspired by the courage and ingenuity of the humans who had defended them, Aaron collapsed briefly, exhaustion washing over him. Mira rushed to his side, holding his arm. "You did it," she said, relief in her voice. "We did it," he corrected, smiling faintly. "Humans survive together. That is our power." As the dust settled, Queen Leora approached. Her expression softened as she looked at Aaron. "You have done more than I could have hoped," she said. "You saved the princess, the palace, and the people. Your courage and intelligence have proven what humans are capable of." Aaron looked at her, still catching his breath. "I only did what was necessary. That is what humans do. We protect, we adapt, and we endure." The queen studied him carefully. "You have proven your worth beyond any doubt. But I must ask, now that the threat has passed, do you still wish to remain in the palace under my command, or will you choose your own path?" Aaron considered her question. He had survived death, saved countless lives, and led the defense of the city. Freedom was within his reach, yet he knew his duty was not over. He looked at Princess Mira, who stood beside him, her eyes filled with admiration and trust. "I will stay," he said firmly. "Not because I am commanded, but because I choose to protect Varelia and the princess. That is my path, my duty, and my honor." The queen nodded, satisfied. "Then you will remain free in choice, but committed in purpose. You are a true human hero, Aaron. Never forget that." Over the following days, Varelia recovered. The Zytron fleet had been forced to retreat, their numbers weakened, and their morale broken. Engineers repaired the city, soldiers trained for future threats. and citizens began to rebuild with renewed hope. Aaron continued his work, guiding soldiers, improving defenses, and mentoring young leaders. His presence became a symbol of human ingenuity and courage. Every time the people faced challenges, they remembered his bravery and resourcefulness, and it inspired them to act with the same determination. Princess Mira spent time with Aaron, learning from him and sharing strategies. Together, they planned for the future, preparing Veralia for the possibility of new threats. Their partnership was one of trust, respect, and shared commitment to the people they served. One evening, as the sun set over the palace, Aaron stood on the balcony with Mira. The sky was a brilliant mix of orange and purple, reflecting off the city below. "You could have left," Mira said quietly. "You had every right to choose freedom." Aaron shook his head. "Freedom is more than being away from duty. True freedom is having the choice to protect, to lead, and to serve. That is why I stay." Mira smiled. "Then you are truly human, Aaron. Brave, clever, and selfless." Aaron looked at the horizon, thinking of the challenges they had faced and the battles yet to come. Humans had survived against the Zetrons, not because they were the strongest, but because they were intelligent, adaptable, and courageous. And as long as people like him and Mira stood together, Veralia would endure. The palace was quiet now, the immediate threat gone, but Aaron knew vigilance was necessary. Humanity's survival depended not only on courage, but on foresight and unity, and he was ready to face whatever came next. Confident in the strength of humans and the power of choice, as night fell over Veralia, the stars shone brightly. Aaron and Mira stood together, knowing that the future would bring challenges, but also opportunities. They had faced danger, survived, and inspired others. And in that, they had proven that humanity's courage and ingenuity could overcome even the greatest threats. Aaron took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his responsibilities and the strength of his convictions. He had given his life once to save the princess, and now he had chosen to continue giving it to protect the people of Veralia. That choice was his alone, and it was a choice he embraced with pride. The palace lights glimmered below, soldiers and citizens moving through the streets with renewed hope. Aaron knew that the Zytrons would return someday, but humans were ready. They would face them with courage, strategy, and the unbreakable spirit that made them unique. And Aaron, the hero who had risked everything, would be there to lead them, showing the galaxy what humans were truly capable of.